was brought to you by Squarespace. Alright, kia ora, hello. Today I'm running you through the camera gear I took while walking the length of New Zealand on Te Araroa. Let's start with the one and only, the Sony a7S Mark III, capable of shooting buttery smooth 4K footage with in-camera gyro stabilization, great weather sealing, and is of course the low light king. I had been using the a7S Mark II for a number of years and felt like it was time for the upgrade. This time around I brought the 24mm G Master f1.4 lens. Its fixed focal length took one thing off my decision-making plate, but if I did want to crop in, I would utilize the in-camera clear image zoom. Beautiful lens. I carried one extra battery and I don't think I ever ran through both in a single stretch on trail. I had 5 of these SD cards, which was an investment, but a number I found perfect to prevent from running out of storage space, with write speeds that allow the a7S Mark III to capture 4K 120 frame per second footage. These kiddos got it done. The most essential piece in my kit. I found that if my camera is not accessible, I am not going to use it. This clip ensured I did. To fully appreciate the f1.4 stop, I used an ND filter to reduce the amount of light entering through that beautiful lens. The hole in the ozone layer above New Zealand is something else. I made a mistake here. I went against tried and true. While this mic was lovely to begin with, I would say it's on the delicate end, and because its input goes through the top part of the camera instead of through the dedicated 3.5mm input, all the dirt and dust and sand that inevitably got captured in that top part prevented me from capturing great sound in some sections. I eventually was able to swap back to the trusty Rode mic. Now I didn't want to rely on the DJI as much as I did on the PCT, so I brought it out just for the Wanganui section. The logic was a little flawed, but I figured if I was filming and we somehow managed to flip the boat and the camera hadn't been stowed properly, the loss wouldn't be as great as destroying the Sony. So I started with a pretty heavy duty wall charger thinking I'd need it. I did not. 2 charging ports was enough for me, one with quick charge, which was great for charging things like my power bank. Yes, this is what wall chargers look like in New Zealand. Charging electronics on a thru hike is a careful balancing act, and I found on Te Araroa I only ran out of battery once, merely due to the fact that this power bank started playing up a little. I ended up swapping out to the Ultralight Dream, the Nightcore. Simple, inexpensive, they did the trick. Used to plug straight into the camera to monitor audio if I was interviewing someone. I obviously use these also to listen to podcasts. Oh yeah, this old thing. Look, I tried, but I just couldn't do it. Ultimately, I couldn't justify the wait, the time, the energy it sapped. It did capture some beautifully stable shots, but I ended up relying on the Sony's in-camera gyro, something new to me, so we'll see how those shots turn out, eh? I did not carry a tripod on the PCT, so having this with me just gave me an array of options I didn't have last time around. My only gripe really was that my camera was pretty front heavy, so I did struggle to balance out the weight. I picked this up on my way up to Cape Reinga before starting because I realized I didn't have a base plate to allow for quick release. You can most likely get lighter ones, but hey, I was already carrying a bloody gimbal, so why stop there? Old Faithful saw me through another through. It has lost a bit of its waterproofness now, however, still loved its work. Now I'm often asked, Eleanor, or Tip Tap, how do you keep your camera gear dry? And this is my current answer. If it rained, I would just put this over the top of my camera on the capture clip and seal it with a hair tie. Not a faultless technique, but hey, it got me through. Next time I might take the Peak Design rain cover. Extra grams, but probably a little more reliable. Now I have been asked how I backed up my footage, and this time I definitely utilized hiking in my home country to the fullest extent. I had planned to get off trail a couple of times for Christmas and a couple of weddings, so each time I returned I would back up footage then. I also planned ahead for the stretches in between those events and sent myself a box to a friend's place in Wellington as well as in Queenstown. In the box included a laptop, an SD card reader, a hard drive and a camera cleaning kit. All up, the weight of my camera setup was 3.2 kilograms, with the gimbal and almost 2 kilograms without it. Quite the weight investment. Along with all my hiking gear, I think my base weight for Te Araroa was around the 6.5 to 7.5 kilogram marker, a bit heavier than I went on the PCT, which I think was borderline sub 10 pounds. Now when it comes to filming and capturing an experience like a through, there is the age-old question of how do you balance the filming and the hiking? And honestly, there's no one answer or method or system. The answer no one wants to hear is that, yeah, it can take away from the act of simply being, but it's an understanding that if you're undertaking the goal to film your through, ask yourself, what do you want out of it? Understand that that will be your priority. If you want to prioritize the experience and be able to summarize it all in the end, then trust your instincts and just use the gear you know. Don't take my kit as gospel. These were hefty investments that I will continue to use throughout my life and as a means of livelihood. So since 2018, way back before I was being recognised for my leading role in minute 15:04 in Bridge to Terabithia Theatre, I built a website. Knowing I wanted to create online and have a landing page of some kind, the thing that was stopping me from building one initially was the fear of doing it myself. Enter Squarespace. For me, it was the most intuitive platform in designing a beautiful website, especially because I knew nothing about building websites, and Squarespace made it super straightforward. You can use it to present your work or sell your products or just as a landing page, kind of like a digital business card. Now, if you were interested in giving Squarespace a go, building your own little corner of the internet, I am really stoked to be able to provide the code Eleanor Osborne that you can use to get 10% off a domain name or website. Thank you for watching. Thanks for sticking around. See you next time. 'Cause I love